Hello, and welcome to the Mild and Lazy Guys podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Matt.
And I'm Andrew.
And we're fresh off the heels from a thrilling Mavericks Game 5 victory. We got a great show for you today. In our junk mail segment, that's our newly named news desk segment, I've got 4 titillizing news stories for you. In our Mount Rushmore, we're going to review our favorite movie soundtracks of all time. We've got our Pick Your Poison segment, of course, as always. In our movie review segment, we're going to review the 1993 Disney film Cool Runnings. We're going to talk sports a little bit. We're going to talk the NFL draft, not the NFL draft, the NFL Player Awards for 2021. Our predictions. We're going to give you our predictions. We're going to talk about the NFL's top 100 players list that got released. We're going to talk a little Mavs, a little Rangers, and maybe, if we have time, some soccer. And then we're going to wrap it up with what are we watching and what are we listening to. But before we get started, can I please ask you to, if you haven't already, leave a rating and review on Apple Podcast or iTunes and follow us on Spotify. And you can follow us on Instagram at Mild and Lazy. What's up, dude?
What's going on?
Not much. Just got back in town over Memorial Day. We had to leave Texas to get out of the rain. And we went to Oklahoma City.
Nice.
Yeah. Not a typical vacation destination, but we were tossing around ideas for weeks and weeks and weeks and couldn't figure it out. And then we got to the week of. And I was like, you know what? Let's just, the cities we've talked about going, let's throw them all in a hat. And just whatever we pick out, we go. And Oklahoma City was it. And I'm glad we did it. Oklahoma City is a really cool town. It's got like a little Austin, a little Dallas. It's just a funky little town with like little art districts everywhere. And it's got great food. Like we didn't have a bad meal the entire trip. We took Landry to like a theme park, which is owned by Six Flags. It's called like Frontier Town.
I don't know.
Little theme park, like, it's just a smaller Six Flags. So he rode his first roller coaster, which was like their equivalent of the Texas Giant. I can't remember what it's called.
Hopefully in better shape than the Texas Giant.
No, it was worse. Like
that's terrifying.
It was a wooden one, so it beat the hell out of you.
Nope.
And I wish they were taking, like they'll sell you the photos of you, like going down. I wish.
You didn't ride with them?
I rode with them, and I wish the cameras were working or they were selling those pictures, because I can't describe to you Landry's face. Like, it started out at the very top of the hill, the first drop. It was just all the joy in the world. And then we dropped. And then
once you drop,
it was like fear and sadness and
his little life right before his eyes.
Dude, I wish I haven't laughed that hard, and I don't know. Like, I spent the whole ride laughing at him.
Just laughing at his misery and
then as we come down, we like bank to our right, and he's kind of slipping down in his seat, and I've got my arm kind of holding on to him, and he still doesn't know whether he should cry or laugh or have fun. And I'm just, dude, my stomach hurt when I got off of it. I was laughing so hard, but he had a great time. Rode some rides.
My favorite part of a roller coaster is getting off the roller coaster, and then I can experience all the joy. And once my feet are back on the ground, that was fun. I had a good time.
Yeah.
The whole time in between, pure anxiety.
Yeah, it was fun, and they had like a little playground area, and so you got to run.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I'd go to Oklahoma City. I keep telling Claire we should just go. I don't know how far it is over the border, but
it was a 3-hour drive, 3.5-hour drive.
That's it, just straight north.
And I'm telling you, dude, the food, and we
I
didn't
want
even
to gamble, but
just go to WinStar.
Right,
that's an hour and 15.
Even closer. Yeah.
It wasn't bad. The food, we didn't have a bad meal. I had a really good steak. I probably had a top 5 burger in my life there.
That's high praise.
We went to brunch one day, and we had a really good brunch. It was just good to get out and get away for a little bit. We had some issues with the hotel, our first hotel, and this is not like my wife, but she went total Karen on this lady. Rightfully so. She went total Karen, and we're still working out whether we're going to get money back, but we had to switch hotels.
Damn.
Yeah, so...
She asked for the manager and everything and still had to switch hotels?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Come to find out, the chick she was acting like a manager, but we called when we got back and spoke with the chick that checked us in that night when we got in Friday night. And she's like, no, that chick just started. Everything she told you is wrong. Here's the owner's number. Here's corporate's number. I would call all these people and try to take this as far as you can because what you described to me wasn't right, blah, blah, blah. So,
damn.
I don't know. After that, everything was smooth sailing. It was good. What else? Found out Landry, his T-ball team, he's on the Cubs.
Cool.
So, could have been worse. Not the Yankees, not the Astros.
Yeah, they shouldn't even have the Astros here.
We got blue as our
Cubs
color.
got good history. I played a year for the Cubs.
Yeah, we got blue, so that's a good color.
Yeah, it's a nice neutral color.
Yeah, so
they got cool hats. I'd just like to see
the
old school C. I'd get one of those to throw back.
So
I can support that team then.
Excuse me. We got first practice next week. I think the head coach is going to ask me to help, so I'll end up helping out.
Oh shit.
Which is something I said I didn't want to do, but I think Landry will want me to help out, and, me being on the field, whether it's on first or third or wherever, that'll probably make him feel more comfortable. So we got games coming up here like 2 weeks, so pretty close.
Quick. As long as it stops raining here.
Yeah, right.
Oh, man.
So enough about me. What's up?
What am I up to? Well,
what are you up to?
Big day tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Elizabeth turns 4. It's her birthday. Yep,
okay.
The big 4.
Okay, the big 4.
And I took off. Claire's going to be off. I think we're going to go up to Showbiz just to see a movie and bowl and hang out. And then we told her we'd go to the dessert shop because that girl has like the biggest sweet tooth you've ever seen. So we're going to get her some desserts, probably go to a park, play dolls, come home. She's got a new bed. She's got a bed that I'm totally jealous of. It's like a bunk bed with a open bottom with like shelving.
Yeah.
So we put a chair under there and hang out and color like strung up lights. And Saturday we're going to have a sleepover in her room just to get her like more stoked about, sleeping in her room full time.
Yeah.
So we have to coerce her into it. So got an air mattress coming in. I told her we're like, we're going to buy her new TV to go in her room because she doesn't have a TV. Pretty much just trying to get her to hang out in her room more. Yeah,
that's weird that you say that because we're doing the same thing with Landry. And our deal with him was if you sleep in your own bed for 2 weeks, we'll get you a bunk bed because he's been looking at bunk beds too.
Bunk beds are the best.
And he wants the same thing. He wants the loft, the bed on top, and then underneath the open space so he can put his TV and his little gaming station down there. And
perfect. She has like 3 little shelves on hers too. I could send you like the link. It was like $300 plus the mattress. We put it together in like couple hours.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Like I'm infinitely jealous. That's the bed I wanted growing up.
We had bunk beds, but it was double, bed on.
Yeah, y'all too. You had to take advantage of the sleeping.
And I can't tell you how many times my brother fell off the top bunk, even though there's like that little lip or the wall right there, the rail.
Yeah, there's a rail there.
No,
he went straight over.
He would find a way.
Jesus,
he would find a way to.
That's my concern now because she'll try to like still get up in the middle of the night and come in, and I'm like. I tell her like be super careful because we leave the light on. But I was like, if she's like groggy and like misses a footing, like my fear is like she'll come tumbling down. But so far, she still comes in the middle of the night and like kind of snuggles up to me. And I mean, I don't care. It's Claire that really just doesn't want her in there anymore. I'm like, she's my precious little girl. Like she can do what she wants. But
there's gonna come a time where you're gonna miss that.
That's what I said. So I was like, I'm gonna take advantage as much as I can. But she is gonna be 4. She started her little, I don't know if it was like a pre-K daycare school. So she keeps saying like she's a big girl now. So it's like you got to sleep in your own bed. We're going to get her that TV. We're going to have sleepovers. But I'm just excited for this weekend. And then Sunday we're going to have like a little party / just lunch for Claire's side of the family. So we're going to go to like Tuscan Slice and just go back to one of our houses and like open presents and hang out for a while. And
nice.
Yeah.
So did I talk to you after you tried Blue Sky?
No, you didn't.
What did you think?
It was good. We were the only people there, and they had the weirdest hours. But we were able to go after Ellie's little graduation, and I got the taco salad with chicken.
Was it
good? And it was delicious. Yeah. Chips and salsa were a little disappointing.
Really? I love their chips.
They were just playing, man. Maybe we got a bad batch. People in there were super nice, though.
Oh, yeah. They're
great people. It was a lady. She's probably like the owner as well. She was the waitress, and like her
Yep.
daughter was just out of school, probably like junior high, early high school. And she's
Yep.
like, I just made her come to work with me, so she wasn't at home all day. And you could tell it's like
It's
very
family.
local, family owned. Yeah, so it's
no, they're
like
good people.
I took the tab, we left them a nice tip, and they were, like I said, they were super nice. So the food was obviously really good, but the service, it was just like real down to earth and wholesome.
No, they're great people. I'm probably going there tomorrow for lunch. But it's always good. You got to get the chicken tacos next time.
Chicken tacos.
They serve them street style with like the little tortilla, onion, cilantro, all the good stuff.
I think tomorrow, we're gonna go see Scoob. It's back in theaters.
Uh-huh.
It's either that or Spirit. Remember that movie Spirit the Horse?
Yeah.
I do not want to see that. I'm gonna push for Scoob so hard.
Well, heads up for you, because next week at the theater, they always show like one like retro movie or kind of old movie. Goonies is playing next week, so I think we're all
Sundays
going.
and Wednesdays, right?
I think we're going next week to go see Goonies.
Nice.
That was always a childhood favorite for me. All right, so with that said, let's move on to junk mail. And I think Andrew has our first story.
Okay, I'll start with this one. It's Utah girls, 9 and 4, crash parents' car while trying to drive to California for a beach vacation. Comes from West Valley City, Utah. So the two girls were uninjured Wednesday after they took the car and crashed it into a tractor trailer as they tried to drive to California for a beach vacation. The driver of the truck was also unhurt. The parents of the girls were asleep when they took the keys. West Jordan Police Detective Scott List told KUTV. They were awakened when police told them about the crash. The children told police they just wanted to take a beach vacation. The crash happened when 9-year-old driver sideswiped one driver, then swerved into the path of a truck on an highway frontage road in Salt Lake City suburb of West Valley City. The children were wearing their seatbelts during the crash that briefly closed traffic lanes near the highway. The girls started out on their trip from West Jordan and made it to a local highway to West City Valley. It's about 6 to 8 miles away. Other drivers reported seeing the car drive erratically and at one point jump into a pickup truck. Okay, it makes more sense. They bumped into a pickup truck.
This just turned into an abduction.
Launched right into it,
abduction.
Yeah. But did not at first realize that there was a child at the wheel. So the whole justification for that was just wanting to see the beach.
Okay, so we'll split the difference. They said 6 to 8 miles. For a 9-year-old to make it 7 miles in a vehicle, I'm going to say that's impressive.
And they knew they put their seatbelts on first.
They were responsible.
Checked their mirrors. I want to know how she reached those pedals though. Is that like Little Rascal style?
Once this 4-year-old was down there working the pedals.
That's the only auto.
and the older one was driving. But God, do you think about how terrifying that would be?
I mean, those girls had a plan. They waited till the parents were asleep. You know, they put their seatbelts on. Of course, they did go like the wrong way up a highway frontage road, which is terrifying.
I've learned with Landry. I learned this lesson the hard way probably a couple years ago now. I used to be in the habit of like Landry like telling me he had to go to the bathroom. I'm like, no, you don't. Just hold it. Until one day he pissed his pants. And I was like, okay, from now on, I've got to take him seriously. That turned into him pissing out front of where were we? Texas Roadhouse in Frisco.
Classic.
Right out front, you know, it's always a wait. So we're outside waiting. People all around us. He's like, Dad, I gotta go to the bathroom. I said, okay, hold on. I'm waiting for your mom to come back. I turn my head probably 2 seconds. Turn back around, and he's got his pants all the way down.
Like butter style, he got them down to his ankles.
Yeah, that's how little boys pee. And he's pissing, like, right there in the waiting area
spelling
with everybody.
out his name and everything.
And, like, I hear somebody laughing behind me, and I turn, and I'm like, oh, my God. So these parents need to take my lesson, and the next time these girls say they want to go to the beach, you take them to the goddamn beach. Otherwise, they're going to take the car, and they're just going to do it themselves.
I was wondering how this Landry peeing story is going to tie into this, but it makes
sense.
Now
on,
you take your kids serious.
When Landry says he has to pee, he's got to pee, and he's going to pee, whether it's in his pants or in a bathroom. He's peeing.
It's in his pants.
He's peeing. All right, you want to read the next one?
My turn again?
Your turn again.
All right, this one takes place in Miami, of course, back in Florida. It's boy shot after dad takes him on paintball drive-by. And the homeowner fires back with a real gun. This was thinking his home was under attack. A Florida homeowner says he shot and wounded a 10-year-old whose father had driven him to participate in a drive-by shooting with a paintball gun. Opelika police say 26-year-old Michael Williams agreed to his son's request to drive by the home Sunday night and let his son fire his paintball gun. Williams has been charged with acted reckless by agreeing to conduct a drive-by paintball shooting. An Opelika police report obtained by the Miami Herald reads, according to the police report, the homeowner mistook it for real gunfire and fired back. The child was further injured in the confusion and run over by the van. Williams is charged with child neglect with great bodily harm. The child is expected to recover. It's unclear if he has retained an attorney who could comment on the charge. Best part was even after this poor kid gets shot, he gets run over probably by his dad.
I just
That's a Florida dad.
for one. That homeowner was about that life.
Yeah, they chose the wrong fucking house.
And I just have so many questions. Like,
it's Florida, man.
Who were you doing the drive-by on? 1, 2. I think that homeowner just wanted to shoot somebody because have you ever shot a paintball gun?
Yeah.
Have you ever shot a real gun? Yeah. Or been around? They're two distinct,
vastly different sounds. Yeah.
Don't say
he just heard like a think and just immediately grabbed his gun.
Maybe he had like PTSD and dude, they're so different. Like there
has to be a backstory to this.
And
I don't think they chose this house randomly.
I want more. I just have so many questions. And you're right, it's so Florida.
Yep. And the dad's 26, son's 10. So that means,
Who
knows? Probably when he was a sophomore, he had this kid.
Who knows? It was probably the dad's idea. Like, you know what I would do? Let's grab your paintball gun.
It was probably a high school grudge that the dad's been holding on to.
Oh, gosh. Okay. All right. Next headline. Woman's car is stolen twice in 24 hours, once after being found by D.C. police. A woman's car was stolen twice in 24 hours, and the second time occurred after D.C. police had found it and notified her. News 4 has learned an internal investigation into the incident is underway. The car's owner, Yasmin, is still trying to wrap her head around what happened. It was pouring rain on a Friday night when the 21-year-old from Clarksburg, Maryland, said she dashed from her car into the entrance of an apartment building to hand an Instacart delivery to a woman waiting there. Quote, I turned around and I just see 3 kids circling my car, and before I can even do anything, it just happened so fast. They just drove away with my car, she said. In an instant, her silver Mercedes with the keys inside were gone from Fenton Street in Silver Spring. Around 10 a.m. Saturday morning, Yasmin received a call from a D.C. police officer who said her car had been found in an alley behind the 1400 block of Chapin Street Northwest. She said the officer had told her he was with the vehicle. Yasmin said she tried but failed to find spare keys, so the officer told her he would have to tow it. Quote, but he told me it's a better decision for me to call my insurance and get a tow from them. That way I wouldn't be charged for it, Yasmin said. A call to her insurance company to arrange a tow took longer than because of the holiday weekend. Finally, after 6 p.m., both she and the tow truck driver, coordinating by phone, were just blocks away from Chapin Street. That's when she got the call saying the car had been stolen again. Quote, I get a call from the police officer telling me that my car is gone, Yasmin said. A friend who drove Yasmin to the 3rd Police District Station recorded a video as she tried to get some answers about how the car was able to be stolen a second time. An officer can be heard saying that he did everything that he possibly could, as Yasmin says, no, you didn't. So, what's worse than getting your car stolen once? Getting it stolen twice. I just don't know. I mean, there obviously wasn't too many details there, but did the officer walk away?
He had to have been. There's no way that someone just walked up to a car standing there with a cop and stole it. That's something you see like in a cartoon.
That's exactly what I thought of when I found this story.
Yeah, that's a cartoon moment that, he was just, it's like the guards that were guarding, Epstein's cell. They just walked away, man. They just
cameras
weren't there.
Weren't working.
Yeah, cameras malfunctioned, shit happened.
All right, and I chose this next one purely for the headline alone. It reads, Kerfuffle.
You had it?
Kerfluffle.
Fluffle? I thought it was...
Fuffle.
Kerfuffle.
Kerfuffle.
You chose it just for this word. Come on.
Doesn't mean I know how to say it, okay? Kerfuffle after drone carrying sex toy disrupts Albuquerque mayoral event. A New Mexico sheriff who was running for mayor of Albuquerque was interrupted at a campaign event by a flying drone with a sex toy attached to it and a man who called him a tyrant while swinging his fist. The campaign group for Bernardino County Sheriff Manuel Gonzalez said the Democrat was unharmed and will not be intimidated. I just imagine like
I will not be intimidated by this swinging dildo.
A video posted on Facebook shows Gonzalez answering questions from the audience while standing on stage in an event center while the drone bearing the sex toy starts buzzing near the stage. The sheriff's office report says the owner of the event center grabbed the device and that a 20-year-old Kaylin Ashby Dreyer also tried to grab it. The report said that Dreyer then turned his attention to Gonzalez by swinging his fist and calling him a tyrant. The deputy wrote that Dreyer punched Gonzalez's hands and then was removed from the event. So, yeah, that's in Mexico.
Like, picture everyone just grabbing for this dildo. Yeah, the swinging dildo. They're grabbing for it. And then he goes, don't worry, I'm unharmed and will not be intimidated. It's like, it's a flying dick, man.
I will not be ran off this stage by a dildo.
Yeah, he tries to act all tough and professional. It's like, that was the funniest thing I've ever seen. It was this dildo flying around your face. Perfect for the junk mail.
I kerfluffled that headline reading, though. Sure did. All right, so...
Moving on.
Let's move on to our Mount Rushmore.
Can't wait.
As I mentioned in the open, we're going to discuss our favorite movie soundtracks of all time. This one was really hard. I don't know. I mean, there was just a lot.
I didn't say anything.
There was a lot to choose from. It was really hard to narrow it down. We've got a few honorable mentions. So we're going to go back and forth. I'm going to go first. Dazed and Confused.
Oh, man, that was mine.
Well, that's why I chose it first, so we could both talk about it. There's just so many classics. A lot of ZZ Top, Kiss.
I put on here, it starts with Sweet Emotion and ends with Slow Ride. So it's like bookended with like a couple classics.
Yep.
And then the scene where they're walking into like the pool hall and Hurricane by Bob Dylan's playing. Mm-hmm. I fucking love that whole scene. It's like the coolest song to play.
Yep.
As they're walking like in slow motion into this pool hall. I paired mine with Everybody Wants Some, which is another Richard Linklater movie because he does so good about that. One takes place in the 80s, and they both just like, pair perfectly with that time in that movie. Right. He's real specific about those songs.
Right.
They had to have been released before the setting of that movie.
Right. So it was, like factually and...
they said he was like adamant about that. And I heard somewhere that like, it was like 20% of the whole movie budget for Dazed and Confused was used just for the soundtrack alone because he was so adamant about having these specific songs. And I think it was Sweet Emotion, the Aerosmith song, is what cost him like the most money. But he was like, we have to open with that song.
Well, I think that's what makes, it's a period piece. So you couldn't have, something from the 90s in there.
Yeah, it would just throw the whole thing off.
Yeah.
That's why he was so specific and adamant about these songs. So it worked perfectly.
That's why his movies are so good.
Absolutely.
All right, you want to go?
Yeah, so that was, like I said, we just paired those together. So my next one would be Vanilla Sky. It's a Cameron Crowe movie. It has R.E.M., Radiohead, Paul McCartney, Peter Gabriel, Sigur Rós, Jeff Buckley, Bob Dylan, and it ends with Where Do I Begin by Chemical Brothers. It's like that's how that movie just fades out into credits.
Yep.
The movie still kind of confuses me all these years, like 20 years later. But I've always enjoyed like that whole soundtrack. It was just like one of the ones that instantly came to my mind was Vanilla Sky, and kind of want to rewatch it, just to see if I get it now. Man, I'm in my 30s now. Maybe I'll get it. I don't know.
You've grown.
I've matured a little. I've gotten older. I've gotten fatter. So we'll see what happens.
Report back to us.
I'll let you guys know.
All right, my next one was Friday Night Lights, just for the simple fact that it was set in Texas, and the entire soundtrack was done by explosions in the sky.
It's a football movie set to explosions in the sky. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
And it's a really good movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's a good movie, and Explosions is one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, Claire blacked out at one of their shows. The only time we got to see him, she fucking passed out like into song 2. Yeah, she's cost us like a couple of good shows now.
Wow.
Fucking needs a... I'm not going to say anything. I love you. But I am bummed out. We were in Austin all day for that show. And then
I've heard this story.
Yeah, and then like into song 2, she just blacked out. Like I literally drug her off to the side. I was like, I'm not just going to stand here. And she's like, what happened? I was like, well, they're on like song 4. I think he just blacked out. So we just ended up leaving.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. We don't have that many cool stories.
Something you could hold over, though. Hold
I
over
do.
your head. All right. What's your next one?
My next one is the movie. I'm going to have trouble pronouncing it, but it's Koyanitskia. Koyanitskia. They like chant it in the movie. It's a really fucking weird movie. Philip Glass did all the music for it, and I'll just say the reason it like has a lasting impression on me, and if you haven't seen the movie, which everyone probably except for Ryan has never seen this movie, just hit pause on our podcast and watch the trailer for this movie. It's spelled Koyanisqatsi. It's amazing. And the first time we saw this movie was actually the first time we took shrooms. So I was just like entranced by this movie for like 2 straight hours, and then for the rest of my life, it's just had a solid impact on me.
Yeah, makes sense now.
It makes a lot of sense once you factor in the drugs.
All right, my next one is Purple Rain.
Purple Rain. That's a great
one. I feel like I don't need to explain it. I mean, there was like 5 or 6 of
Enough said.
Prince's classic all-timers on that.
Yep.
And it's a great movie. But yeah, Prince, Purple Rain.
Hey, easy on the eyes and on the ears.
Double whammy.
R.I.P. My last one, it's Tron Legacy. That's the one where Daft Punk did all the music for it, and I'm so like upset with myself because that's one of those movies where I was like, I wish I could have seen that in movie theaters.
Yeah. Because
with the sound quality in the movie, I was like, it was. I've seen the movie since. Obviously, I had the Blu-ray and everything, but it's just like a one giant Daft Punk music video, but with like Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
So, I've always liked that movie. That's one of the soundtracks you could just listen to at any time. And I'm a big Daft Punk fan, so I guess if you're not, you probably don't like that choice. I like Daft Punk.
My last one, out of left field, is Can't Hardly Wait.
Solid choice.
Blink-182, Run DMC, Third Eye Blind, and there's a couple other ones I'm missing. But it was kind of in that era of late 90s, early 2000s, teenage, like sex comedies.
Sex angst. Yep. Yeah, like we're getting out of high school, we're going to college, so we all had this misperception of what high school was going to be like and then how great college was going to be like. Mm-hmm. And then none of that happened.
None of it happened.
Yeah. That was our era.
But yeah, no, it was just it's a great soundtrack. You have honorable mentions?
I do. I'm going to bust them out real quick. Honorable mentions would be Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 1 and 2.
Yep.
They play so well in that movie, and they're almost like a part, like a bigger part of that movie. Moana.
Yeah.
All the music was written by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and it has Jermaine Clement in there from Flight of the Conchords.
Oh, yeah.
He's so shiny in that movie. Another classic I watched with Ellie, Enchanted. That is a great fucking underrated movie. I put Amy Adams and my boy James Marsden kill it. I really like James Marsden. He would be like my celebrity crush if we were doing like an all bros version.
Okay.
He'd be my first round selection.
Got you.
I don't know why I just had to let you guys know that.
Let me know.
And the last one, Baby Driver. Because that movie was like also built around the music for that. Like each scene was specifically tailored like for that song.
Okay. I've got Romeo and Juliet. Garden State.
Yeah.
A lot of
shins.
Yeah, I was about to say. I can mainly remember the shins.
Me too. That's like when I think of that whole soundtrack, I just think like it's all, even though it's not all shins, I just picture it all being nothing but the shins.
Yeah, Zach Braff.
Shout out, I guess. That was random, Zach Braff. Yeah, he's in it.
I was just going through my head. And like,
he just popped in there.
Zach Braff.
Yep, Zach Braff.
Spinal Tap.
Spinal Tap. This is Spinal Tap.
This is Spinal Tap. I mean, that's a great movie.
That was like one of the first definitely mockumentaries I've ever seen, and I saw it so young. I really thought it, because then you look it up, it's like Spinal Tap actually has albums they put out.
They put out albums,
and so I was like, it just blew my mind until I was like high school. My dad was like, "Yeah, this is all fake. It's just a fake comedy, but it's still funny." And I was like, "But they still put out music, and they still had a record." And it's like I don't know.
It's kind of like Death Clock.
Dude, Death Clock actually toured.
I know,
which is weird.
I've always wanted to see Death Clock.
Me too.
But yeah. So, and there's a bunch more we could have put on there. This was a really hard one, and it was a fun one. So yeah, you guys out there, you want to share yours, leave it on our Instagram, text it to us. Any kind of feedback we get, we always love.
Please.
We
need to know you guys are listening.
So as usual, after Mount Rushmore, we're going to go to the Pick Your Poison segment. I picked last time. I think it sucked. Oh, the eye from I got confirmation. The eyes are an organ.
Yeah, Claire immediately told me, and then
Yeah,
she's
so
like,
did
"Yeah, of
Lauren.
course, you idiots."
Yeah,
I was
Lauren-
like, because I wasn't sure. And she's like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, it absolutely is."
Yeah, Lauren listened. She's like, "You're a moron."
Yeah, immediately our
She's
wives
like,
were
"Of
like,
course."
"Of course it is."
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I thought it was, but I wasn't sure."
I didn't know I married a genius.
Right?
Lay off.
I got both our wives were just immediately knew the right answer.
Lay off.
All right, this one says, "Would you rather be a practicing doctor or a medical researcher?"
Redraw.
Obviously doesn't know us.
Redraw. I'd rather be a doctor.
I'd rather be a sperm donor.
That's medical research.
Well, there you go. Would you rather snitch on your best friend for a crime they committed or go to jail for the crime they committed? Sorry, buddy.
You're going to jail.
I'm snitching in a heartbeat. I got a fucking family to feed. So
Yeah,
sorry,
dude.
Zach. Whatever you did, I'll fucking write you a letter. I'll
put money on your books.
Yeah, I'll give you some. What's it called? Commissary.
Commissary
Money.
Put money
yeah.
on your books. Yep.
Yep. But nope. I'm not going to jail for anybody.
Yep.
I did my
Neither.
time. I ain't going back, man. So that was an easy one. Sorry,
Okay,
bud.
sorry guys. 2 lame ones. I tried to redeem
That
ourselves.
wasn't lame. That was just like a no-brainer. Should we go
Depends
for
on how much you love your friends. Which one? Oh, you're gonna go. We're gonna go threesies.
Might as well finish that
Let's
trip.
do it.
Would you rather give up watching TV and movies for a year or give up playing games for a year?
Like video games or like board games?
It just says playing games, so I would
So
assume
video
all.
games?
No, I would say game like board games, card games, dominoes, and video games.
I'm gonna go giving up playing video games
Yeah,
or
me too.
games because I've done that. I've gone stretches where I've been busy and couldn't play video.
I do
games.
too, and then I'll like get like a certain game like into something, and I just play it like I've been playing
For like 3
Madden
or
for
4
like
months.
you did for
Yeah.
NCAA,
Mhm.
and then it's like you're obsessed with it for a while
Yep.
until you put it back down. But
Yep.
I mean that means you couldn't watch like any sports, which
yeah,
I gotta
I can't
like.
do that.
I could give up watching a sitcom or even movies before sports.
Yeah, so could I. Yep. Especially coming into the season we're coming into here in a couple months.
Yeah.
All right, so that'll move us into our movie review. Like I said earlier, we reviewed Cool Runnings. It was put out in 1993. Did you have a couple little stats for me on the movie?
I got this. It got a 76 on Rotten Tomatoes. I also found out that this was John Candy's last movie to be released while he was alive. Later, Wagons East and Canadian Bacon were released, but they were released post mortem. I couldn't say the right word. It was released after he died. So this movie was like. So this would have been like the last, like red carpet he went to, for example.
Yeah.
So it also, I found out there's a Cool Runnings 2 starring Tom Arnold and Eric Andre.
Dude, I have to see this now.
Yeah. And Leon, who he just goes by Leon.
He's a one-name guy.
It's like I think his real name's like Leon
Madonna.
Robertson or Robinson, but yeah, when it was like starring Leon, I was like, damn, that's fucking bold. Like Madonna's in this fucking movie, and I'm like, who that? I don't even know who Leon is. And the director's name's John Turteltaub. He directed 3 Ninjas right before this, and then he went on to direct both National Treasure movies with one Nicolas Cage.
Bangers.
Absolutely.
I think I read this movie did like 63 or 73 million at the box office, so that's pretty good. That's
like
damn
fantastic.
good for 93.
For a 93 movie about a Jamaican bobsled team?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a win.
I remember seeing this poster in the movie. You know, they'd have like the big, like propped up, like cardboard posters, like in the movie theaters. My dad took me to see Jurassic Park, and I remember seeing this advertised in the theater. And then I made it about, I don't know how many minutes in, but when that T-Rex like eats the guy off the
we
toilet.
talked about this. Yeah, you cried.
Yeah, I didn't cry. Let's get that straight out there. I did not cry.
Macho man, man.
But I started out like in my seat, just, in my seat. My dad was next to me.
Uh-huh.
And then as the movie progressed, like I inched closer and closer and closer to him. And then my dad said, but like the time the guy got eaten off the toilet, like I was like in his lap. And I remember walking out, I was like, man, I shouldn't have went and saw that movie, Cool Runnings. That was terrifying.
Yeah, it would have been way more chill than that.
All right. So let's get into this. We open up with...
Well, but did you notice in the opening credits who did the score? Caught my eye.
Yes.
Hans Zimmer. Who's like probably the best known...
Legend.
Yeah, he's like him and John Williams and Philip Glass, of course. But I was like, that's pretty fucking impressive. I just had to write that down. So
And,
yeah, Hans Zimmer did the score for this.
Who's that guy? Randy
Newman,
who did
Toy
does all
Story.
the Pixar stuff. Yeah. I did notice that. We get the opening scene of Darius training for the 100 meters. He's got his primitive little block set up with rocks, and he's training to make the Olympics. And then when it shows him running around the island, and I'm just tired from watching him.
Yeah, it was very cocky of him. Just keep running,
man. We get the first Dougie Doug sighting as Senka.
Dougie Doug. That's an awesome name.
And we go straight into the pushcart race. And Senka is going for 7 in a row, I think.
In a row, and he's just basically whipping those child laborers.
I wrote he's some kind of, and I was going to say something that I can't say because he was whipping these kids, getting them to work. And
every time they sit down fun, he's like, you know what they say?
Get back to work.
Get back to work.
No
fun.
We get into the pushcart race, and I would not
super dangerous.
I would not want to be the kid laying down.
That kid, I don't know what purpose they serve. They're just basically almost lying flat, they're doing a push up, and they're just holding their body.
They're not turning the wheels.
No, he's not doing anything.
Maybe it's for weight, but I feel like
that was the only thing I could think of. But you could put some bricks,
John Candy did.
Foreshadowing, yeah.
Irv.
But I put that on too. I said it looks extremely dangerous, and my guy Samka is getting too cocky, and he crashes right there at the finish line.
Yeah, and we get the first line of, Senka, you dead? Yeah, man.
That was our Jamaican impersonation.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of that.
A lot of Jamaican influence.
Next, we go to the finals of the Olympic trials.
The 100-meter dash.
100-meter dash, which, Jamaica's got a long history in.
Probably the richest history, maybe.
Darius, and we don't know it yet, but we meet 3 of the 4, or I guess 2 of the 4 of the bobsled team right here. We got Junior, who's the rich guy, the little small guy. He's
weird shaped head too the whole time. He just had a flat top head.
Mm-hmm. Yep, very angular.
Yeah.
He's saying, "Hey, you're Darius so and so. It'd be an honor to run with you." And then he goes over to, I forget the guy's real name, but he goes by Yul Brynner. His name's Yul Brynner in this movie. I forget his real name. I've seen him in some other stuff. The bald-headed guy.
Yeah, the tough guy.
Tough guy.
The Baditude.
Yeah, the Baditude. Yep, that's good. Yeah, that's a good word
Total
for it.
time Baditude.
Yep. Except, no, he softens up.
He softens up finally, and he tells him, "I still don't like you."
Yeah, but you do.
He likes him.
So race kicks off. Darius looks like he's on his way to victory, and leave it up to the fucking nerd to screw it up for everybody. He trips. He takes down the top 3. Y'all were going to the Olympics. You 3 were going to the Olympics.
The top 4 were going to make it. Top 4
y'all
qualified.
were in. All you had to do was stay on your fucking feet.
Yep.
Maybe your dad was right.
Jeez.
So he takes him down. It seems like Darius's Olympic dreams are over. In the next scene, he goes straight to the Olympic director and he tries to get the race to be, reran or redone. The director, he's having none of it. He's saying, "Hey, sorry, you got another 4 years." And that's when he sees a picture of his father with an American. And he asked the director about him. He said, "Yeah, he lives here on the island. He tried to get your father to be a bobsledder." And the light bulb goes off. He's like, "Well, there's my ticket into the Olympics."
Yeah, first question, though. What's a bobsled?
He asked what he's like. He's gone his way to find this man to try to, get the bobsled dream going. He's like, "Hey, I need to know what a bobsled is."
Yeah,
first.
he goes, "Okay, I'm 100% in, but first, what's a bobsled?"
So he goes straight to Senka, his best friend, try to get him on the team, try to recruit him, and Senka isn't having any of it.
Yeah, he's just fucking with him.
He's like, "Ice? You mean ice?" And he's like, "I'm going to go take a warm bath thinking about all this ice."
Yeah, that was a running theme with him. That guy was a straight Jamaican through and through.
He did not want
if it gets under 80, he's out.
He doesn't want anything to do with the cold. But eventually he comes around to it. He says, "Hey, if you need me to do something, all you got to say is, Senka, you're my friend. We've been through heaps together," or something like that. Heaps of stuff. He's very specific about the heaps part. So you're right. He's just fucking with him. He's stringing him along, but he eventually gives in. And then we get our first John Candy appearance, and I wrote down, it's good to see him. Like, John Candy is always, to me, it was like seeing an uncle you hadn't seen in a while.
He was definitely like the Uncle Buck.
Yeah, that's the one we need to review. Uncle Buck is great. But yeah, he's a bookie now. So
they find him in a bar, and he's like in his worst mood. He's trying to like assault him, chokes him.
Yeah,
they're just trying to get him to coach.
He just lost money on.
They finally get the picture. Like, okay, maybe he's not in the best mood here.
Yeah, so I say Dries and Senka.
I'm glad you know all their names.
Yeah, I wrote them down. They're trying to get.
I just put Baldy Junior. I did get Senka, and then I just Leon because he just goes by Leon. Oh, and John Candy's Irv.
Yeah, Irv.
I did get that one.
So after some convincing, Irv does decide to help. So they need to recruit a team. So the next scene, Dries and Senka try recruiting a room full of people with an old video, and that was a terrible idea because it was just basically like a Faces of Death video, but bobsledding wrecks, and they flip on the lights, and the room is empty. And what do you know?
Baditude,
Yul Brynner, and Junior show up, and Yul Brynner tries to kill Junior because he tripped him in the race.
But they realize like that's all they got.
Yeah.
Like there's only us left. So what's his name? Yul Brynner. You know, he's so adamant, just like Leon's character, about like getting to the Olympics. And he's like, if this is the only chance I can get to make it, like I guess I'm gonna join a bobsled team.
Yep.
So it's just out of necessity because they wanted to go to the Olympics. It was like their life goal, make it to the Olympics.
And they had nothing else. They had nobody else.
No, there's nothing else going on unless you want to wait 4 more years.
Yep. So then we go to Junior's house, and first thing we see is him talking to somebody, saying, I'm a man, I'm going to do this. Turns out he's talking to his dog.
A basset hound.
A pretty dog.
Adorable.
A very good looking dog. His father shows up and tells him that he got a job with Webster and Cohen in Miami, and says that, quote, they went along with this little track nonsense long enough. So basically, Dad's, shooting his dreams all to hell.
Oh yeah, Dad doesn't give a shit about what his son wants.
No, he's got him a job, and that's all he cares about.
And you think if your son made it all the way to like the final race of the Olympic qualifying, you'd be like, he's a pretty good athlete. Like maybe he could do this for a little bit longer. But he's like, nope, I already got you a job. I'm gonna go tell your mom. This is great news that your life is ready.
And then we get a hilarious training sequence where they get this old like water trough, cut it in half, slap some wheels on it.
I said that bobsled to start is looking as rough as John Candy in this movie.
Dude, he did look rough.
He did.
So at the beginning, Irv says, hey, if you want in the conversation, a decent start's like 5.9 seconds. So after what seems like all day, they finally get a
silly montage.
Yep. They finally get a 5
They did it.
Second start. They finally get it. Irv, in the next scene, Irv goes to the Olympic committee, and tries to get funding for the team to go to the Olympics, and gets shot down pretty quick. And then
they have their own fundraiser.
Yeah, we get a montage.
They try everything to get some money for this.
Yeah, we get a montage of them trying to fundraise on their own. Dries goes to different businesses. He gets all dressed up, has a pitch. He gets laughed out of the office.
He gets laughed at like a college graduate trying to get an entry-level job.
Yul Brynner holds a arm wrestling contest, and he's whooping everybody until
Big Mama steps up.
Big Mama steps up and puts him down. It was $1 an arm wrestle.
There's a kissing booth.
Dries and Senka, they have a kissing booth, and Dries gets busted by his girlfriend.
Very pretty.
Very pretty. And that kiss wasn't just a kiss. I mean, they were like straight up.
Oh, he had lipstick all over him, and then he was like Pepe Le Pew afterwards.
Yeah.
And of course, sure enough, his girl standing right there afterwards.
Might as well needed a cigarette after that.
And a test.
And my wife wouldn't have been like
crossed arms, like shaking her head. She would have just been like, fuck you, and walks away.
And then she wouldn't have helped me like fundraise and figure this out.
No, she forgave him really quick.
I would have had to go stay with
Leon's
Senka.
got it. Leon's got it going.
Apparently.
Senka did some singing, and one guy gave him $1 to shut up, so his total was $1.16.
So yeah, so the next scene, they're all pulling their money together and kind of letting everybody know how they did a fundraising, and
$19,000 short.
Well, it sounds like they rounded up about $1,000.
Yeah, they rounded up about $990.
Yeah. But then Junior steps up big by selling his car, and he just comes in and dumps all the money on the table. And he explains that he sold his car, and his father doesn't know that he sold the car or that he's on this team. His father thinks that he's on his way to Miami, and he loaned his car to a friend.
He's a bad boy.
Yeah, but he wants to be a part of a team. He wants this Olympic dream, and he sold I'm assuming, which is a very nice car in Jamaica.
Oh man, that car is probably worth way more than $20,000.
Yeah.
It was like a James Bond-ish looking car.
It looks like an old Aston Martin or something.
That thing was probably about $500,000.
Now that they have the money, they're off to the Olympics. We get a
From
montage.
Jamaica to Calgary.
Yeah, we get a montage of them in the airport. And
Senka ain't having none of that cold weather.
No, he strips here. He doesn't strip. He empties his bag, puts all his clothes on, even his bag. And then it says the temp was negative 25 in Calgary.
Yeah, they made one like almost weed reference where Leon was like, "Senka, what you smoking?" He goes, "I'm not smoking, man. I'm breathing." I was like, they had to make one like weed reference for this Jamaica because they hit every other stereotype. Yep. Every beer you saw was a red stripe. Yep. So I was like, they had to at least make their little Disney reference to that.
So then Irv, he's going to register. He's going to register the team for the event, and I guess the official's like, hey, I guess Jamaica does have a bobsled team. The official time to qualify is 1:02, and Irv's like, well, it used to be 1:05. He's like, time's changed. And then Irv runs into one of his old teammates. And
assholes, man.
Asks for help getting a sled. And
that guy was cool. There was two others with him that were assholes.
Yeah, so in that little interaction, that's the first time we kind of see, like something's going on.
Yeah, there's a history there. And the one guy was like, hey, it's good to see you, Irv. What the hell did you do to yourself or something? I was like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
The other guy didn't shake his hand. I'd rather not just shake my hand.
And I wrote down, and I had to scratch it out because later on in the movie, I got a better look at him, and it wasn't this guy, but I thought that the guy that walked away was Mr. Ducksworth from the Mighty Ducks.
Oh, shit.
Because it looked just almost like him, but he's not. He's another actor, and I didn't get his name, but if you've ever seen Justified, it's his dad.
Yeah.
It's his dad in Justified.
Timothy Oliphant's dad?
And he's also in Dewey Cox.
That's a good movie.
But I had to scratch it out because I got a better look at him later in the movie and then looked it up, and it's not him. But yeah, Irv meets up with one of his old teammates, asks for a sled. They get one.
Almost $5,000 was what that got too. I was like, for $5,000, man, you can almost buy 1/4 of that car.
Right.
That Aston Martin. Apparently, bobsleds are a lot. Obviously, I don't know the bobsled market. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't begin to know. And then the team gets their first taste of being on the ice, and it goes about how you expect.
Yeah, it was like just the worst run where like they literally like took a picture of them like busting their ass, and that was like the front page headline.
Yeah.
So only can go up from there.
But Yul Brynner did get a good shot on a Russian hockey player.
That's the guy you don't fuck with.
No, you don't fuck with Yul.
You'll learn out later when they go to that old honky tonk.
That's right. So they finally get this sled, and it is a piece of shit. Like I wrote it, they get a piece of shit sled. But beggars can't be choosers. So yeah, then we get a record. We get a record scratching moment when they bring the sled to the top of the hill in front of all the other teams, and they're watching them like walk their sled to the.
And everyone's like polishing theirs, and they look up and see these guys.
Yeah. And they go on a practice run, and they end up crashing, and Senka pisses himself because he has has
that fucking egg in his pants too that he always kisses,
and he didn't. It doesn't ever break. Like.
He pulls
it straight from his dick.
Yeah,
and he kisses it.
Literally the last thing I wrote on there is Senka must keep that lucky egg on his chode, and he always kisses it. He pees on it. It has to be tucked between his balls and his butthole, and then he'll just pull it out and give it a big old kiss and put it right back. That kind of got me questioning my guy. Other than that, I was Team Senka.
Team Senka. So we go back to a scene in their hotel room, and it was kind of a I don't know, kind of not a sad scene, but Yule's, giving Sankin a hard time, saying, hey, you'll always just be another, you don't get it, you're going to end up on the island the whole life. He's like, after I win the Olympics, I'm going to live here. And it's a picture of Buckingham Palace. And Junior's like that, and Sankin's like, that's Buckingham Palace. That's where the King of England lives.
Yeah, you'll never live there. But
and Junior steps up.
Junior's a nice guy.
Junior's
like one of the rare,
he's a minch.
like rich minch.
Yeah,
rich minch.
So he says, hey, if Yule's got a dream, all he's got to do is know what he wants and work hard for it, and he'll get there. And then Doris finally learns that Irv was a cheater, and we find out why he got such a cold reception by his old teammates.
Yeah, because I would imagine they're upset because they had their goals taken away too. So he got caught cheating in 1972 by putting weights in the sled. So that explains faster. Why everyone's pissed. Because it's not like an individual sport. He probably cost everyone gold medals.
Oh, for sure. I wrote he put weights in the front of the sled, and he got his gold medals taken away. And then a little bit later, Junior gets a telegram from his dad telling him to come home now. And then we get the honky tonk scene. I said, just when you think you've seen it all, you get a Jamaican line dancing scene.
Yeah.
And then, of course, these Germans are there. And
East Germans, don't get it twisted.
Yeah, no,
East Germans, way bigger assholes.
And then he tells him to go back where you belong, and I'm like, ugh. You're playing up that German stereotype real well.
And it's a really stupid thing to say at the Olympics, like where everyone except for Team Canada isn't supposed to be here.
Nobody's supposed to be here, bro.
Except for the Canadians, everyone else is not in their home country right now. But that is just something like, come on, bro, you don't say that.
So this kind of upsets Junior. He goes to the bathroom. He gets picked on. And Yule takes him into the bathroom and gives him a pep talk, and probably one of the more memorable scenes, where he says, "I see power, I see strength, I see one bad mudda,
a badass mudda who don't take nothing from nobody."
That's one of the scenes I remember because I haven't seen this movie in 20 years, probably since high school. I'm
going to start calling everybody a badass mudda.
But that was one of the scenes I kind of remember before I even started the movie.
Disney letting their nuts hang a little bit too, because he said badass more than once.
And then he said he called one of them an asshole earlier in the movie. I feel like Disney had way more of an edge.
Oh, they did.
Way back in the day.
Yeah, they made some like executive decisions where they're like, okay, we can't do anything fun anymore.
So after they get out of the bathroom, Junior's kind of feeling himself a little bit. He stands up to the German. Doesn't go
that
well.
Immediately backfires.
Doesn't go well. Luckily, Yule was there. And
I put an Old West saloon style brawl in Calgary with Jamaicans and East Germans.
just like you draw it up.
Yeah, it's exactly what I imagined happened at the '88 Olympics.
So I get a bar brawl scene, and then Doris. The next scene, they're in the hotel room. They're all laughing. Doris is upset because he's all business. Because earlier in the movie, when they're assigning kind of the positions, like who's going to sit where, Senka wanted to be the driver.
Yeah, he automatically assumed he was driver because he was the
pushcart driver.
Pushcart champion. Yeah.
And then Irv says, no, you're the brake guy. He's like, the driver has to be the first one there, last one to leave. He has to do more work than anybody.
He has to know every corners. He's the protector basically
of
like all your guys.
For all the lives
the safety of them all.
So Doris is taking that responsibility.
He's the obvious leader.
He's the leader. So he's upset. He's kind of reading them.
He wants to be like Team Switzerland. He really admires Team Switzerland.
Yeah. Irv comes in and kind of scolds them all. So we get another training montage leading up to qualifying. And then we go to the night of qualifying, and they get these badass uniforms. And
at some point they painted their bobsled because the bobsled at the end was looking really fucking clean.
Yeah, right before
it went from a rust bucket to like a painted rust bucket.
Right after they qualify, right before the 3 runs, they get it painted. So Irv learns that the committee has changed the qualifying time from 1:02 to 1 minute. So it's like one of these Disney things where they're going to put many obstacles in the way, make it really difficult. Which, it wouldn't happen in real life. I wouldn't imagine.
You couldn't change it like within days of getting to the Olympics. They don't change qualifying. Trust me, I've been to the Olympics. They don't do that.
So despite that, they qualify with a time of 59.46. Everybody's happy until they find out that.
Well, before that, did we learn what Cool Runnings means? Because they would decide they need to name their bobsled because they just qualified.
Yeah.
And what's Leon's character?
Doris.
Doris says Cool Runnings means peace be the journey, which is pretty fucking cool. I might have to get a Cool Runnings tattoo over here.
Or of like the bobsled.
They're like pushing it, saying Cool Runnings, dude, straight down the crack of my butt.
All right, and then once again, they find out that they're disqualified due to a change in policy.
And again, that's just the board people like changing it as they go.
They're just being racist.
Yeah, they really kind of are.
And then Irv goes in and busts in the middle of their board meeting, and he
calls them out.
He pleads their case with an emotional plea, and it worked. You know, come to find out, the dude who walked away in that initial kind of meeting, or when they saw each other, that was his coach. That was Irv's coach when he was a bobsledder.
That guy was an asshole.
So he's like, I get it. Like, I did something terrible, worst mistake of my life. If you want to punish me, that's fine. Disqualify me, but my dudes didn't do anything. They deserve to be here and fly their flag and represent their country just like everybody else. So it works. So
next was the flag ceremony, right?
Yeah.
Which is a big deal. The whole, we're assuming the country's watching. They're just like in a little bar in Jamaica watching. But
right.
The whole country's got to be like
sure.
stoked about that. And it is a big deal, man.
For sure.
We'd probably take that for granted because we're like pretty much in every sport on the Olympics. But
right.
imagine in a country of like less than 1 million or whatever that population is. So I get it. Seeing your flag there for like the first time at the Winter Olympics probably was a big deal.
Yeah, for sure. And then the next kind of scene of significance, Junior's dad shows up and tells him to come home. And Junior finally stands up to him. And Yul Brynner's watching it all go down, and when he turns, he's like, "You're one bad mutta."
You're one badass mutta.
So we get to the first run, and it's not good.
Yeah, they get last place from day one.
Yeah, it's they run it in a time of 58.4, and that's good.
Which is an improvement from their first run, but still.
Right. Now it counts. Dead last. So they're in the hotel. They're trying to figure out what's going on, and Dries is again going on about the Swiss.
Yeah, we got to do it like the Swiss.
Do it like the Swiss. And Sank is like, he reminds him like, no, we're Jamaican. We talk Jamaican. We walk Jamaican.
We is Jamaican.
We need a bobsled. Jamaican.
How are you not doing the accent during all these, man? Come on. We only get like one opportunity to ever do this. I'm going full Jamaican, man.
I'm trying not to.
Okay, throw you off?
Yeah, you did. So that takes us to the second run, and they shave almost 2 full seconds off their first run.
And that's where we get the line to start.
Yeah, that's where the famous feel the rhythm.
Do it.
Feel the rhythm.
Come on, do it.
Feel the rhythm. Feel the rhyme. Get on up. It's bobsled time.
Yes. You even rolling your tongue on that, man.
Tried. So they shaved 2 full seconds off their first run at 56.53 and moved from 28th place to 8th place.
Nice.
And then really it all comes down to this last run. It shows
down to the final 6. They said they even have a chance to medal here.
Chance to medal. It shows the announcers. They've got Jamaican fever. They show their little T-shirts in support of Team Jamaica. And
they're on a record-setting pace, man. They start great.
They said that push start was 1/10 of a second faster than the Swiss. So there's no telling what they would have ran. But that old
junker. Yeah, you just see like this bolt coming out, just like shaking. But just
how do you not check that? Like, how do you not just go around?
That's on the coach.
Everything? That's on Irv.
That's on Irv for sure.
Or it could be on Dries because he's the captain and responsible for everybody. But hey, regardless, they get destroyed.
Shit, dude, that was a hard wreck. They were just grinding on their skulls for it looked like a mile down that track.
And their neck was like cranked.
Like
I know. 90-degree
because you can't move it. Yeah, you can't move it.
And I've got an article, if y'all will bear with me after this, about the actual original bobsled team and the team that the movie was built around. But I will tell you that all the crash footage that they showed in the movie was from the 88 games. Damn. That's actual footage of them crashing because they did crash in real life. And then we get the scene of them picking up their sled carrying it,
Yeah.
across the finish
As
line.
the East German guy started a
He
slow
started
clap.
the slow clap because
Respect.
by that point they've earned everybody's respect.
Ultimate sign of respect is the slow clap,
A
don't you
slow
think?
clap, yeah, it is. And Sanka checks on his egg, his taint egg, pulls
so
it out.
fucking nasty. He's got to be blowing hairs off that thing before he kisses
He
it.
kisses it, and before that, Yul Brynner finally kissed it.
Gross, dude.
So you
fuck
kissed
that.
his balls
And butthole. Like, let's not kid ourselves. That thing is tucked in between your balls and your butt.
and butthole. So yeah, that's the end of the movie. We get an emotional embrace.
We end it with the kiss of the egg, and it's over.
Well, I mean, it's not a lie. But yeah, so that was Cool Runnings. They didn't place, but they did go on to qualify for the next Olympics. And like I said, I have a little article. It's kind of long, but stick with me.
We'll chop it up.
Devin Harris, an original member of the team and chairman of the Jamaican Bobsled Federation, says the movie's plot is a far cry from what actually happened. 30 years ago, the Jamaican bobsled team competed for the first time in the Winter Olympics. Theirs is an ultimate underdog story. A group of guys with Olympic aspirations in a country known for its beaches but not snow. It is no wonder that Hollywood jumped at the chance to tell their story in the 1993 film Cool Runnings. But Devin Harris, an original member of the team and chairman of the Jamaican Bobsled Federation, says the movie's plot is a far cry from what actually happened. Quote, the true story is even more remarkable, Harris told Inside Edition. Cool Runnings grossed nearly $69 million at the box office when it was released in October of '93, and the film continues to charm our audiences. It goes on to recap the film, which we just did. Quote, is very loosely based on us, Harris told Inside Edition. The true story is too bizarre and that people wouldn't believe it. The names of all the characters, including Blitzer, are made up. The real version goes like this. In 1987, two American businessmen, George Fitch and William Maloney, were living in Jamaica and were inspired by a local pushcart derby to form the country's first bobsled team. With the support of Jamaica Olympic Association, the Americans first set their sights on recruiting track stars who didn't qualify for the Olympics. They also spoke to the Jamaican Defense Force and got the help of Colonel Ken Barnes to recruit players. Among those recruits was Harris, who was 22 at the time and serving in the Jamaican Army. But he was a middle distance runner who tried out for the '84 Olympics but failed to qualify. Quote, I thought it was ridiculous, he recalled. People thought it was ridiculous. I said no one could ever get me on one of those. But Barnes pushed him to try out for the team. Once Barnes told me to go, in a way I wanted to be on the team, he said. If I'm going, I'm not going to make up a number. I'm going to make up a team. And I always dreamed of being a summer Olympian for track, but then my thinking shifted. I saw how amazing the opportunity was. Unlike the real movie, the athletes didn't have to sell kisses or hawk their vehicles. In reality, the team was funded by Finch and the Jamaican Tourism Board. The original recruits were not former track stars, but three members of the Army, Captain Dudley Stokes, Lieutenant Devin Harris, and Private Michael White, and a civilian, Samuel Clayton. Quote, we know what great athletes there are in Jamaica, and we know that athleticism could be applied to any sport, Fitch told Inside Edition in '93. This was an idea that grabbed me. The film shows the men crashing into fields and to farms as they practice. In reality, the four players trained for 3 hours a day next to a soccer field in the Army barracks using a makeshift sled. Practices were grueling, but without the use of snow, the squad didn't know how good they could be. Still, they relished the opportunity. Quote, I am from the hood, and a year after high school, I'm in the Army, Harris said. Then I become a bobsledder, something no one in my country has done. For Harris, the bobsled, while it was foreign to him, was still a ticket to broaden his horizons. Quote, growing up in my neighborhood, there was not much of an opportunity, he said. There was more despair than hope. Wanting to be an officer was a dream, and then I applied that dream into reality. What happened if I didn't? It's hard to get out of the ghetto. A month after being assembled, the team traveled to Lake Placid, New York, to train on the tracks. It was no more flat surfaces, concrete, or dirt. Let's see. The team later trained in Calgary and Austria, then back to Lake Placid. Along the way, they picked up two more players, Frederick Powell and Caswell Allen. Powell became a de facto publicist for the team by selling shirts and singing their song, Hobbin' and a Bobbin'. When they returned to Calgary in February '98, they were welcomed warmly by their peers, unlike the film. Quote, in the film, they stretched the truth on racial discrimination, he said. Athletes generally don't treat each other that way. Just a week before the Olympics, Allen injured his hand and had to be replaced. Stokes' brother Chris, who was at the games but had never been on a bobsled, was a last-minute replacement. Quote, we were like, Chris, you're a sprinter, right? Come on. So in 3 days, we taught him everything we knew. And at the end of the week, we pushed the 7th fastest time. So
Damn.
One dude only had 3 days training, and then, unlike the movie, they were already pushing, the starts were already there. So they were 7th fastest. Jamaican bobsled team also competed in the 2-man sled race, which I didn't know, which is not depicted in the film. They also didn't use a rickety sled left over by the Americans like the Cool Runnings cast did. In fact, the Jamaicans rented an older sled from Canada and painted their colors on it just days before the race. So it goes on and on. I could read it, but basically, they said, it was loosely based. They go on to talk about the third heat where they crashed. The driver, Dudley Stokes, who'd suffered a shoulder injury during training, lost his control of the sled on a turn. Team crashed, forcing the sled on its side. And it says Cool Runnings used the footage from the actual crash in the film. So there you go. In 1998, Harris returned to the Army. He said he took off the Olympic uniform, put an Army uniform back on. Then they went on to compete in the 92 Olympics and the 98 Olympics. Sounds like now they have a rich history. They were in 2014 in Sochi. They failed to qualify for the 2018 in South Korea, but they did send a women's team, bobsled team, for the first time in the country's history. So
expect that movie out soon.
There's Cool Runnings. I really enjoyed it. I forgot how good of a movie this was. I laughed out loud several times during the movie.
That wasn't a bad movie at all.
No, not at all.
We usually kind of like stick-to-bag movies, but I mean, that was one of the better ones for sure.
It was
Up
good.
there with Scream.
No, it was very good. All right, so with the movie review in the bag, let's move on to sports. Like I said, we are going to go over the NFL, the NFL awards, our predictions for them anyways, and we broke them down into, I forget how many categories, maybe 6. MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year, and Coach of the Year. So we're going to break that down for you right now. MVP, who do you got?
Well, I'm a big homer, and I think he's going to have a big year with the full weapons and with the offensive line. So I went Dak fucking Prescott winning the MVP.
I think Dak we'll win the division. MVP, we're winning the Super Bowl.
Not necessarily.
I think so.
I think he has a better chance of winning MVP than we do the Super Bowl. But if they go hand in hand, I'll be thrilled.
I mean, not a bad pick. Did you have like another one or a dark horse?
Yeah, I picked dark horse Josh Allen. I feel like every year since he came out of college, he's just been getting better and impressing people and making them eat crow year after year. And the way he's progressed, it's sooner or later he's going to win an MVP with the way he's been playing.
That's not a bad pick. I've got Patty Mahomes winning it.
It's a safe pick.
It's a safe pick, but it's also the most probably realistic.
True.
If they go on it, if they make another Super Bowl, there's a good chance he's going to win it. Dark horse, I picked Josh Allen as well. But I could also see Timmy Brady getting in there.
I thought
Aaron Rodgers, despite
wherever he goes.
I know it's probably hard to pick him now, but you can't count that guy out.
Yeah.
I just don't see going to somebody other than the quarterback.
No, it's always a quarterback.
All right, so let's go to Defensive Player of the Year. I'll go first. I've got T.J. Watt getting it. He's been on the cusp for years. T.J. Watt's a sore subject around here in Dallas. If you're not listening in Dallas, we picked a guy named Taco Charlton over him.
Jesus Christ.
I could see Aaron Donald winning it again.
Would that be his 4th?
Yeah. Outside of those two guys.
So Donald was your dark horse?
He's not even really a dark horse. Those are just the only two guys I could think that could.
It's gonna be somebody. It's always someone with like 10 to 15 or plus sacks.
Maybe Tremaine
Forced
Edmonds out of
fumbles.
Buffalo. Maybe that could be a dark
Yeah, because
horse.
Stephon Gilmore won it as a corner a couple years ago.
Yeah, so
I also picked T.J. Watt, and my dark horse was in the same conference, actually. Same division. I went Myles Garrett as my dark horse.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
The guy is just like fucking shredded. I mean, he's got muscles on top of muscles, and we know how he swings the helmet. It's just a matter of time before he gets like 20 sacks.
I could also see either one of the Bosas. If they put together a healthy season, they could win it.
Yeah. You could have just put Bosa's. Could have been Nick and Joey as like your favorite and dark horse. One of the two. Absolutely. And same thing almost with the Watts. Like, I doubt JJ's going to have this type of season TJ will, but he's a 3-time winner, so it'd be like this other brother could win it.
Putting him as a dark horse, it's just his injury history scares me.
Yeah, you can't expect him to put up, especially when he's got like a younger brother that's putting up same numbers than all these other young guys coming off the edge. It's going to be an edge rusher, and like you said, MVP, it's going to be a quarterback. That's why it's easy to narrow that down almost always.
Offensive player of the year.
I didn't have that written down, but I will pick Derek Big Dick Henry.
Okay. Not a bad pick. I think this is an area where Patrick Mahomes could sweep both categories. I could see a guy like Christian McCaffrey if he has a big year.
He can easily get another 1,000 season.
I could see him. I could see Derrick Henry. Maybe, as a guy like Travis Kelce going to...
That'd be a nice
kind
surprise.
of break that mold. And,
to see like a tight end get it, because didn't he lead the NFL in receiving yards last year?
Yep.
And he could easily get you 10 to 15 touchdowns. So if he was 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns, I would love to see like a tight end break that trend.
I'm just kind of throwing stuff out there, just for conversation's sake. I don't see a wide receiver getting it.
If you did, I could see maybe Devontae Adams if he still has Rodgers throwing to him.
I want to see what kind of step DK Metcalf takes in his third year. If they let Russ cook, he could have a 15-15 season or 15-18 season.
Wait, what?
1,500 yards, 18 touchdowns.
Oh, you're talking about DK.
Yeah.
I was going to say that'd be a terrible year for Russell Wilson.
No. No, I'm talking about DK.
But ever since they started talking about that let Russ cook last year, his numbers just tanked.
Well, because Pete Carroll doesn't want him to cook.
Right. It's
Pete Carroll wants to ring
Russell Wilson's already retired today. He's a Hall of Famer, and they restrict him. They put shackles on him. Be like, no, you need to do this for us instead. Hand it off to Chris Carson or Rashard Penny or whoever else they got.
All right, let's get into the rookies. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Who do you got?
I mean, it's hard not to say Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
And my dark horse, I went extra dark horse. That's not a black joke. I went Najee Harris as a running back. I think he's going to do so much for that offense. He could be...
We've seen rookie running backs come in to make instant impacts.
Yeah, Zeke had a great rookie year. Zeke almost won. I think he was second that year in Offensive Rookie of the Year voting. And Najee Harris is just going to be the focal point of that offense. I think he's going to be the next Alvin Kamara.
I've got Trevor Lawrence as well, but I really think Justin Fields, he's in a better situation, I think, in Chicago, just right off the bat.
Yeah, he got to go to a playoff team. Yeah. The Bears made the playoffs, so they're not like the Chiefs good, but they're, better than half the teams in the league already.
They're not the Chiefs good, but they're not the Jags bad.
Yeah. Yeah, he instantly has better weapons and I think better coaching. I like Matt Nagy and I fucking hate Urban Meyer. So
Justin Fields for me could be the dark horse, but even a darker horse, Devontae Smith in Philly.
I would pick probably either Pitts or Jamar Chase over him, or Jalen Waddle. I really thought Jalen Waddle because I think he's going to return kicks and punts.
I should have.
And I think he can make an impact.
I should have prefaced that with saying if he had a quarterback, I would pick him.
Yeah, fuck the Eagles.
All right, Defensive Rookie of the Year. I've got Jamin Davis. He's a linebacker selected by the football team.
Football team just building that defense. If they ever get an offense going, they're good.
Their weapons are good.
They really are.
Fitzpatrick's coming into a situation in Washington where they're already in a better position than where he was in Miami. And he was going to lead that team to a few more wins in Miami before they pulled him for...
Yeah, they wanted to put in Tua too bad. They were getting like antsy.
I mean, they're a competent quarterback away from being pretty good.
And he is like the ultimate I'm not gonna throw for 400, but I'm not gonna throw for 3 picks. It's gonna be a 1-score game in the fourth quarter. I've always liked Fitzpatrick, and scares me, man. Like, they're the one team in our division I think that, like, could really challenge us because that defense is so good, and all they've been, like you said, they were one competent quarterback away from making noise, and they got a very serviceable veteran.
Other one, my dark horse is Micah Parsons. I just didn't want to be a homer.
Well, I went straight homer.
He's gonna go straight into playing time. He's playing a position where he can get a ton of tackles. He can make a big difference.
I was gonna say we could set the over under at total tackles at 120. Interceptions at probably
4.
I was gonna say 3, so 3 to 4. I think he gets a couple of sacks. He's gonna get some pass deflections, some pass breakups. You know, he might get a forced fumble or two. I just think he's gonna, by the end of the year, you're gonna look at it and across the board, he's gonna have at least average to above average numbers in every single category. So my pick was Micah Parsons. My dark horse was J.C. Horn because that's who I initially wanted for us. So I'd like to see him succeed. And
I could see J.C. Horn. The only thing is, I think cornerback is the one position where, unless you're
Dion,
Jalen Ramsey, it's one of the harder positions to transfer.
Straight from college to pro. And I think he's going to be the number one, so that's going to be tough. So, like, when they play Atlanta, for example, well, he'd be fucked, actually. He's going to either get Julio, Calvin Ridley, or Kyle Pitt. You know what I mean? Like, he's going to be that number one, so when he plays the Packers, he's going to get Smith. So, but that might actually not be a great pick because he's probably going to give up a lot. Right? Yeah.
So, when they play New Orleans, he's going to get Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
When they play the Bucs,
that probably wasn't a great pick in hindsight because he's going to be that number one guy. But I think he's going to embrace it though. He's going to
embrace
that challenge.
And you know that old saying, "Iron sharpens iron." You know that's only going to. He's either going to. You know that's the ultimate litmus test is being thrown in the deep end with those guys.
So I think maybe in 5 years we'll look back and be like J.C. Horn progressed because he embraced it. But maybe not year one. But I was just a big J.C. Horn fan. But I really think Micah Parsons is going to stuff the stat sheet.
Patrick Surtain could be another one that gets it.
Yeah. Because I think they would have more help for him on defense.
Yeah.
So that might actually be a better pick for me. It would be Surtain.
Comeback player of the year. Who do you got?
Well, if Prescott's winning the MVP, he's got to be comeback player of the year.
Yeah. That's who I got. I got Dak Prescott.
Dark horse, I got Joe Burrow.
So do I.
Because, I mean, if he leads that team to 5 or 6 wins, it's an improvement. And
didn't McCaffrey miss a big chunk of time last year?
He probably missed at least 10 or more games.
So that probably qualifies.
You could do Saquon. I mean, there was Nick Bosa.
Both Bosas.
So many fucking good players missed time last year. So, but like I said, it's going to go to. I think it'll go to a quarterback. I think these awards are a little biased. Because if it doesn't go to a quarterback, and if someone makes an impact, I think it should be Barkley because he's in a much more difficult situation than say McCaffrey.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I have Dak Prescott and Saquon Barkley. But like you said, Joe Burrow, if he gets 7-8 wins out of that team,
it's going to be hard to not give it to somebody who like can double their win total.
Coach of the year, I got Sean McDermott for Buffalo. He should have probably had one a couple years back, but
could have had one last year.
But they gave it to Stefanski. My dark horse, Brian Flores. If Miami continues to rise. That's another guy right there.
That's such a great turnaround. So I'll just say, and we didn't cheat off each other because my coach of the year is Brian Flores and my dark horse is Sean McDermott. Yeah. But I think Brian Flores because, I mean, from where they've gone the last 3 years to now just barely missing the playoffs at 10-6, adding 2 more first-round picks and just loading up on the rest of their picks, I think that's going to be a fun division to watch between the Bills and the Dolphins to see who's going to take it. So it's going to be somebody from the AFC North. Or is that the East? I think they're the East.
That may be the East. Let's see.
Yeah, because the North is Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and whoever else is in that division.
All right, Cincinnati. That was our 2021 NFL awards.
Yep, so now that we put it out there, none of it's going to happen.
Too early.
We're going to get them all wrong.
So I sent you a screenshot of Pete Prisco for CBS Sports put out he put out a top 100 players list. But specifically what I saw is I think it was a top 20 wide receivers list. And I screenshotted it and I sent it to you. And there was a glaring hole. There was no Amari Cooper. And I've got the top 100 pulled up.
Okay.
If you want to go through the wide receivers real quick,
Let me get that picture you sent me.
Yeah, if you can pull that up, and we'll go through.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, there's about a handful of these where it's like, yeah, those are no doubt. So they have Devontae Adams ranked 7th overall. So I'm going to give you the overall, but this is the order of the receiver. You got Stephon Diggs at 12, Tyreek Hill 13, Julio Jones 28, DeAndre Hopkins 36, DK Metcalf 39, Justin Jefferson 45, Allen Robinson 46.
Okay, stop right there. I think you could slot Amari Cooper right in behind DK Metcalf. Right in that area. Yeah.
I wouldn't put him ahead of Michael Thomas, but shortly after that is where he really needs to be in this list. So that would mean he's a top 10 receiver, top 50 player. I think he's better than Allen Robinson. I just don't know if he's better than Michael Thomas. So Michael Thomas was 55? Who is this? Chris Godwin 59. Mike Evans 62, Calvin Ridley 67, A.J. Brown 72, Keenan Allen 76, Odell Beckham, get the fuck out of here, 81.
Burn me in fantasy, dude.
Yeah, every year. Never trust him in fantasy. DJ Moore 89, Adam Thielen 97, and Tyler Lockett 98. No fucking way those last 5 guys are better than Amari
There's no
Cooper.
way.
I mean,
no
he
chance.
Had garbage thrown to him, protected by absolute garbage, and he still got over 1,000 yards.
I don't know. That's just
There's
national
no
media Cowboys hate at its finest. But I've got the top 100 pulled up. Number 1, Patty Mahomes. 2, Aaron Donald. 3, Aaron Rodgers. 4, Tom Brady. 5, Travis Kelce. 6, T.J. Watt. 7, Devontae Adams. 8, Russell Wilson. 9, Myles Garrett. And 10, Josh Allen.
And I think our first guy was Zach Martin at 18. Because I know they said we had 4. It was
18.
And then Tank Lawrence was somewhere in the 40s. And then Dak and Zeke rounded out. I think they were in the 50s or 60s.
So I'll give you the first 5 after the top 10. You tell me if any of these guys, they deserve. 11, Derrick Henry. 12, Stephen Diggs. 13, Tyreek Hill. 14, Jair Alexander. And 15, Jalen Ramsey. Any of those guys, did you get the top 10 right? Do any of those next 5 deserve to be in the top 10?
I mean, I love Big Dick Henry.
And maybe Jalen Ramsey.
And maybe Ramsey because he is the one shut down corner, yeah.
But I really can't argue with their top 10.
No. I don't like Tyreek Hill being that high just because he's a woman beater and he abuses children. But I guess if you run fast, you get to, play football.
Yeah.
But no, you can't really argue with that. I like how the Chiefs got 2 guys in the top 5. That's pretty fucking awesome.
16, Trent Williams. 17, Nick Bosa. 18, Zach Martin. 19, Dalvin Cook. And 20, Khalil Mack.
I'll say I think Quentin Nelson was 26, and I think that's a travesty.
He's 26.
Yeah, he should have been you could easily put him in top 10. I love that big, sexy guard.
21, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Deshaun Watson, Xavier Howard, Joey Bosa.
Both Bosa boys in the top 25, too.
Quentin Nelson, David Bakhtiari, Julio Jones, Lamar Jackson at 29, and Chris Jones, Kansas City DN in top 30.
Damn, Kansas City's got at least 3 guys top 30. No, that's 4 guys in the top 30 because Tyreek Hill was barely the top 10. Jesus. Yeah, watch out for them in the Super Bowl again.
They got Justin Herbert ranked 38.
That's
strong.
Probably where he should be, dude. I really almost put him as my dark horse MVP, but I think in the second year they're going to figure something out about him. They're not going to able to stop him completely, but he's not going to put up 34 touchdowns and only 7 interceptions this year.
So we get to our second Dallas Cowboy at 42, DeMarcus Lawrence. Prisco says he hasn't had double-digit sacks in either of the past 2 seasons, getting 6.5 last season, but he remains a player who does get a lot of pressure. He's still playing at a high level, even if the sack numbers might not show it.
Yeah. Yeah, he does a lot of stuff that doesn't show up in stat sheet. And he'll take on double teams almost all game.
Then we get all the way to 50 at Dak Prescott. Prisco says his season-ending ankle injury last season sent the Cowboys into a tailspin. He signed a big new contract this offseason, which will put more pressure on him, but he seems more than up to it.
I don't see how you can put him at 50 because he was putting up ridiculous numbers. I know we weren't winning, but he was on pace for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns, and you're projecting this list onto how they're going to perform in the upcoming year. So to say he's healthy, he's signed up, his offensive line is back, he's got all the weapons. So how is he not going to be better than the 50th ranked player if he's got everything going for him right now?
Cowboys hate.
And we're just obviously Cowboy homers, but I think you could have put Dak somewhere in the 20s to 30s to maybe even top 40 at worst.
57, you got Zeke Elliott. And Prisco says, Elliott is coming off a disappointing 2020 season that saw him rush for a career low in yards, 979, and average 4.0. But the line was banged up in front of him, and this is a big prove-it year for Elliott coming up in 2021.
Yeah, I think it'll help Elliott, too, because for the first time in his career, the focus isn't entirely on him. So we actually have, like, a very legit passing game. So it's like pass, and then run, and then, loosen him up, and then wear him down in the second half. So I'm hoping for a big year for Zeke. I know I've been a hater, but I just want him to live up to that contract. So if he lives up to it, I'm all good. I got nothing to say. It's just when he fumbles 3 times and gets you under 50 yards in a game, I'm going to be upset.
Yeah.
But he could easily turn that around, and I think,
And we're going to talk about some Cowboy OTAs.
Yeah, apparently he's been looking great, so I'm awesome. I'm all about that.
Yeah, I'm kind of scrolling while you were talking, kind of just looking for anything I have problems with. And I know he was hurt, but they got Saquon Barkley at 87.
Well, they had Nick Bosa at 14, and he missed 14 games. Or at, 17, I guess. But like I said, I guess you're projecting for 2021 season, and if that's the case, then yeah, he's got to be higher than Zeke.
Yeah.
So I don't get this. I really don't get this list, because if we're saying this is going to be the upcoming year rankings, Zeke is not going to be as good as Saquon if Saquon's healthy.
They have Kyler Murray at 94.
Yeah, that's fucked up. He's
stupid. A dark horse MVP guy.
He really can be.
If they've got a tough division, but if he can get them into the playoffs, and if he plays like Kyler, and full disclosure, I have huge man crush on Kyler Murray. 94 is a slap in the face.
It really is.
And then Mr. 100, L'Jarius Sneed. He's a safety for the Chiefs.
Of course, Chiefs.
Yeah, nothing else. And he's saying he just missed. So I guess guys he's got outside the top 100: Von Miller, Kenny Golladay, Josh Johnson, the safety out of Cleveland, Quinnen Williams.
So he mentioned Golladay, who missed a huge part of the season, but still no mention of Amari Cooper.
But he's like probably 12th or 15th down on this list.
Fuck you, Pete Prisco. That's fine, dude, because, I think the next year's list will have Tyron Smith, probably will have Lyle Collins. I think it'll have Amari Cooper. I think it could either have Gallup or Lamb. So it's like we could add 4 guys to this list for next year. And I mean, they'll be lower on the list, but we could have guys in the 80s and 90s.
Yep. So that was that.
So
that was the NFL Pete Prisco's top 100, and we went over the Amari Cooper shade, missing out on the top. What was it, 10 or 20 wide receivers?
Well, yeah, because at least 20, because you were listening, Golladay and other people that were honorable mentions.
So let's get into some Cowboy OTA observations. OTAs continue this week. I read a lot of reports, listened to Broadus, who is out at practice. Nashawn Wright continues to stand out from Broadus.
I hope he proves us all wrong, man, because that was such a mind-boggling.
Didn't have a draft grade. Didn't deserve to be drafted. He had another 2
Took shit from everyone locally and nationally for that pick.
He had another 2 picks this week.
Damn.
One was off Dak. One was off. I almost said Gilbert Grape. Garrett Gilbert. But Nashawn Wright was a big standout.
Is he playing corner or safety?
Corner.
Okay.
Shoot. Micah Parsons continues to just look like a freak out there.
He is a physical freak, dude. We've been saying that for over a year.
Per John Machota. Shout out Machota.
Father John.
Yep. Dak, day one looked rusty as expected.
Yeah, totally expected.
But from today, Brada says he's hitting all his marks. Everything looks crisp coming out of the arm, and they're working a ton on footwork. Not just with Dak, but with all the quarterbacks. Dak looks good. Said Zeke looks to drop to about 10 to 15 pounds. He looks super light on his feet. He looks cut again.
Excellent, dude.
he just brought us, couldn't say enough about him. So that's good
because
news.
in years past it'd be the opposite, where he comes in heavy and overweight, and he's like, I'm gonna get into game shape, or I'm gonna get in shape for the season. So for him to come in focused and ready, I mean, that's fucking awesome. I love to hear that.
It was weird. Pollard was getting reps at wide receiver.
I could see him playing slot.
Yeah, and we've seen that with
why not? Why not have two backs and then split one out? Split one out to the slot and go like four wide.
This may be something that's going around the league. Travis Etienne during rookie minicamp was getting took 1 day full reps at wide receiver. So I don't mind. I'll put all the weapons out there we can.
Absolutely. Spread them out, confuse the defense, and let where the ball's going. They don't.
After OTAs, not Blake Jarwin. Who's our other tight end?
Dalton Schultz.
No, sorry. Blake Jarwin is going out to California to train with Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I've heard they're good friends.
Yeah, so those three guys are going to, for Jarwin to get in the company of those guys and learn from them and pick their brains.
Dude, Jarwin...
We've got two weapons at tight end. I don't know if people realize Jarwin is going to come back and have a great year.
He's a great athlete. Like, he has that Kelce speed where he gets the ball and he can run 23 yards before he gets tackled.
And then I was super impressed with Schultz last year.
Especially after that first game, he really became like a reliable target.
He had a shaky first game, and then he kind of balled out the rest of the year.
See, and Schultz, not to put him on this pedestal, but he's almost like the more Witten, to where it's like, I'm just going to catch it, I'm going to know my spot, I'm going to find the marker, and I'm going to fall down, whereas Jarwin can cut and run. Well, I had huge hopes for Blake Jarwin before he got hurt. I really think this offense could be top 5.
And more rave reviews for Dan Quinn. From observations, people seem to think that this defense is clicking. Towards last year, we can say COVID and virtual learning.
But I heard, what's his name? Mike Nolan. They said his scheme was just so confusing and hard to understand, and he wouldn't kind of help the players understand it better. He was like, this is my system, just figure it out. Whereas Dan Quinn's like a player's coach, and he's going to work with you.
He's on the field. He's got his hands on players, and from everything I've read and heard, you can visually see the players picking it up better.
Yeah, everything I've heard from Dan Quinn, I fucking love him.
Keanu Neal looking like he's going to play more safety than linebacker, which is a position he's played in the past for Dan Quinn.
But he could probably come in the box on any package.
Yeah, he can come in the box. He can play. He's got that versatility where
he's that hybrid safety linebacker, so he's perfect for that.
All right, so that was a few Cowboy OTA observations. This is, I think, the last camp, and they get a month break, and then July, we're in Oxnard in training camp, and then that first week in August, in 2 months, we're at the Hall of Fame game.
Are we playing the Hall of Fame game?
Preseason football. Do
we have 2 2 or 3 or just
4?
1? 4?
4 preseason.
I thought it would have only been 3 to total 20, so we got 3 preseason, 17 regular.
Let me double check.
Because before it was 4 preseason, 16 regular for 20.
Let me double check. Right. So let's move on. Like I mentioned in the intro, we're coming off a big Dallas Mavericks Game 5 victory in LA. What was the score? 101?
105?
105?
I think it was 105, 100 or 101. I think it was 105, 100. And it was super tight butthole. Super tight butthole.
Especially in the last 2 minutes, because we had a 10-point lead.
Yeah, and they said that no team in NBA playoff history has blown a 10-point lead with under 2 minutes. But if it wasn't for Terrence Mann doing a double clutch after they got that turnover on what we could have been the final possession, and he did a double clutch and passed it to Batum, who went up and made missed his layup, and Hardaway got the rebound, which was best case scenario for us because he's our best free throw shooter. And then even then I wasn't sure until, wasn't it Richardson hit the final 2 to give us a 5-point lead, and I finally could breathe easy.
Yeah, in Kawhi, he got that spot. He got his spot in the corner. Almost the same exact spot when he eliminated
the 76ers when he was with Toronto?
Yeah. And I thought for sure that was going in.
Playoff Kawhi just terrifies me, dude. He is such a fucking
And then there's that look that Rondo gave him. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
After he missed the shot, they called a timeout or something.
He was bewildered look.
He had that almost that LeBron James, J.R. Smith moment where he just was like, what? Yeah, what is going on? And I to be a fly on the wall, I want to know what Rondo said. because he rushed that shot. He didn't have to take that shot. He could have drove baseline and got the 2 or draw a foul or whatever, but he rushed that 3, and then that's when Rondo gave him the look. But you're right, we almost blew it there.
Yeah, because Luka was gassed, dude. Like when he's on the court for us, we're obviously a plus. As soon as he goes off, that's how we lost game 3. We're up 19, took them out, and the next thing you know, we're losing. Or we weren't losing, but they shaved that down to just single digits, like 3 or 4 points before the end of the quarter. Like we barely won that quarter. So for a 22-year-old, it's crazy to say, but the franchise is literally on his shoulders.
No, it is. You can tell when he's out, it's just different.
Yeah.
And I feel like he set, I think, early in the fourth.
Yeah.
He started the fourth on the bench. And I said, okay, if this thing goes below double digits, you got to put him back in.
And I think Carlisle brought him in right at 10 points. Yeah. Right when they brought it down to 10, he was like, all right, that's enough. Yeah. He brought him in, and, even if he's not scoring, because he went a stretch during the fourth quarter where he was either not putting up shots or just not making them, and he really was just the facilitator. Yeah, but when his step back's on and he's getting floaters in the lane, you can't guard it. And he's already got like that Dirk turnaround fadeaway.
Flamingo fade.
Yeah, the Flamingo Dirk one-legger. It's like he's worked on so many things. He's so good. The only thing he can improve on is his free throws, which I heard he's like at 41% or something.
I heard a stupid take. Usually I love Barstool. I agree with a lot. I like a lot of what they do. But it was Big Cat and I forget the kid's name. But
Shoes.
No. Billy Football, maybe. Anyway.
Johnny fucking Utah.
He was saying that he thinks that Luka isn't 22, that he's more like 27 or 28. And that because he's European and there's a lot of paperwork that could get fudged up, that he's more like 27 or 28.
So he's literally going with like the Obama birther. He's
going old school Danny Almonte Little League World Series off theory on this, which is
they've had game footage on him since he was a teenager. You could tell but he was progression of puberty.
Yeah, but he was like 20. He claims he was like 21, 22 then when he was playing for Real Madrid. No. It's so stupid. Anyway,
I mean, if there's any weight to that, like I'm pretty sure that would be like, sports world shattering news.
Yeah, and just to confirm, we do got 4 preseason games beginning Thursday, August 5th. Hall of Fame game against the Steelers.
That's a good game.
7 o'clock on Fox. And then we got the Cardinals.
I'll be at your house.
Let's do it. Cardinals, Texans, Jaguars to finish out, which sucks because we had Jaguars week 4, so we probably won't get to see Trevor Lawrence. And then...
Oh, yeah, that does suck.
Leads us right into week 1, September 9th, Thursday night.
Beating the fucking Tampa Bay sucking ears.
So, back to basketball. So we get that win. We're up 3-2. Suns and Lakers are playing now. Both LA teams on the brink of elimination.
Is Portland Denver series? Is that game over? Are you checking?
No, let me check.
Oh, I thought you were like looking on everything. Because I know they play first. I think it's 3-2. Here I had pulled it up with the series because the East is set, so we know who's playing in the East.
99-95 Trailblazers. 49 seconds to go left in the third.
Okay, so that still has the fourth. So in the East, Philly over Washington, so they're going to play Atlanta. I think that's going to be a great series. I heard Alex say something about Embiid having something torn. Like a meniscus, and if that's the case, I'll have to take Atlanta. And then we got a great series with Milwaukee and Brooklyn. That's going to be a great series.
Hot take. I think Milwaukee takes that.
I was going to say, man, I would love to see Milwaukee take it just because fuck the big three. I hate when people team up like that. In the West, we already have the Jazz advance. They're going to play the winner of the Clippers Mavericks. And then the other round, it's they're both 3-2, so we'll find out. Well, we could find out at the end of the week. It's going to be either Denver or Portland taking on either Phoenix or Lakers. So round 2 of the playoffs is just going to get more intense, better team.
So we've got Game 6 tomorrow. We could close it out at home. 8 o'clock game. And the final was 105-100. I've got it pulled up right now. We need Luka to ball out. One guy I want to give kind of maybe unexpected player of the game award for Game 5 was Dwight Powell. I think he brought a ton of energy.
Guy. Yeah.
I think he busted his ass. He got 7 boards. We needed that. and
that's really his
Carlisle.
whole game. That's his whole game right
And
there.
that's Carlisle kind of just pulling those strings, kind of knowing his team. And it really bums me out that Dwight Powell had that Achilles injury, because I don't know if you remember before the injury, that dude his trajectory was going way up.
Well,
he was a high flyer.
He plays nicely with Luka. Like they work well when it comes to like just lobs and just shit like that. So Luka makes him infinitely better.
And going back to kind of Carlisle pulling the strings, starting big like we did. I think that was like the second tallest starting lineup for the playoff game in NBA history.
Well, yeah, two guys that they had a 7'4" and a 7'3" guy. Your starting guard 6'8".
The tallest lineup was also by a Mavs team in 2003, I believe. It was Dirk, Rafe LaFrance, and Sean Bradley.
Oh, the Bradley years, yeah. I hope he's doing good.
Yeah.
Another great player that stood out was Dorian Finney-Smith for guard. He offensively, you can expect, maybe 15, 5, and 4, which is not bad. But defensively, to not shut down Kawhi, but slow him down enough, you can't ask for much more than that.
But yeah, I was really impressed with Dwight Powell. KP kind of showed some life there in the fourth. He had a couple big shots.
He had that big three, to put us up. And he had some defensive stops.
I love seeing Boban
Everybody
compete.
loves seeing Boban.
It was a good night. I was on the edge of my seat for a lot of it. So we got a big Game 6 tomorrow night.
Yeah, Game 6 tomorrow at 8, like you said. And then I heard if there's a Game 7, it's going to be Sunday. They said even if there's not a Game 7, even if we close it out, the Mavericks still are going to play on Sunday. They're going to have Game 1. So we're either having a Game 7 on Sunday or we're playing Game 1 against the Jazz on Sunday. But
I don't like that.
The NBA said regardless, we're going to turn around and play that game.
I don't like that. Okay, so that's kind of everything.
What about your road stat?
Second time in NBA history that the road team has won every game through 5. So nobody talks about that road court advantage, but here we are.
The road court advantage.
Road court advantage. So, but here we are.
Speaking of that for the Rangers.
That's a great transition. Let's talk about our Texas Rangers.
Say that with a laugh. Our Texas Rangers. Well, they're setting their own franchise records with 14 straight road losses, which I think either ties or breaks the record since they moved to Texas. I think the Washington Senators had like a 16-game road losing streak, but we lost again to the Rockies. I think that was it a 3-game? Because it had to have been a 3-game series because today would have been the day game to close out the series.
The getaway game.
Yeah, the getaway game, and the Rockies aren't that great, so it's not like we're losing to like the Dodgers or something here.
Although the Dodgers went through their slump too.
Dodgers got some injuries. I would love to have half the talent they have, though. But you know what? It's not like we're gonna fucking do anything this year. So let's play young guys like we have been. Let's get the number 1 pick this year. So we get number 2, then number 1, and then we'll turn that shit around.
Yeah. Still haven't made it out to the new stadium. I need to. Tickets are cheap enough. I need to take the boy out there. Maybe we'll take a show. Let's take a show trip.
Let's go. I still want to go to FC Dallas game.
Thank you for that transition. I've got a few minutes here to talk about soccer. Speaking of slumps, FC Dallas is last in the Western Conference. We've got 6 points out of a total 21 available. So in soccer, you get 3 points for a win, you get 1 for a draw. We are 1-3-3. 6 points out of a possible 21. It's not good. I don't know what to say. The Hunts, who own the Kansas City Chiefs, there's nothing to get rid of them. There's no way to get rid of them. They're a founding family in this league. Their father Lamar, was one of the key founders in the MLS. Kept it alive. Kept it alive when it was probably going to fold there in the early 2000s. So we just built the National Soccer Hall of Fame there in Frisco at the stadium. So there's just no way to get rid of them. And they treat this as a business, not as a team that they want to win. 6 points out of possible 21. Other soccer news: The Euro 2020 tournament, which was being played in 2021 thanks to COVID last year, is going to set to kick off next week. And just for all you that don't know, the Euros are basically like a World Cup style tournament, but just with teams in Europe. So it's like a mini World Cup. The level of competition is super high. I love it because I get that 2-year kind of fix in between World Cups every 4. So it's great for me. I'll be watching it. It's like a month long, just soccer fest for me. I'll have it on at work on my phone. Nice. So it'll be great. Players or teams to watch out for. Probably my top 4 are England, Belgium, France, and I'll say...
It's either Germany or Croatia.
I'll say Germany.
That's how the Croatians doing. That was my Cinderella team from last year's World Cup.
Yeah. Germany and England are Final 4 from the World Cup.
France won it, right?
France won it. And
over England?
Over Croatia.
Hey-o. I should have known that. Those are my boys.
That's coming up. That's exciting. So I've got a month-long tournament to look forward to. The U.S. men's national team is in action tonight against Honduras. We watched it before we started recording. It was 0-0 against Honduras. So that's my little 2 or 3 minutes on soccer. You want me to
give you the update?
I want to finish it when I get home.
All right.
That'll bring us into what are we watching and what are we listening to. Let's get through that and we'll wrap it up and get on out of here. So what have you been watching?
What I've been watching? I'm going to start with what I'm listening to.
Mm-hmm.
That's just because I wrote it down first.
Go ahead.
It's a podcast called Gangster Capitalism.
Yeah, I started a few of them. They're good.
Yeah. So there's 3 different seasons. It talks about how in each season's about a scandal. It's about a scandal's about greed, power, greed, hypocrisy, and of course money. So like I said, 3 seasons. The first one follows the college admission scandal, which kind of was brought to prominence in a couple of years, and just shows how money can weasel your way into any college for the right price, and just how they were taking the spot of someone who either worked hard or academically or athletically, and they just took that spot right from them. So it kind of pissed you off. Season 2 is about the self-imploding of the NRA and how their actions of greed helped tear them apart. That was really interesting. And the current season that they're going is about Jerry Falwell and Liberty University, and yeah, he's just a really shitty guy, and that's just a real piece of shit university that doesn't care about its people. So that one's going on right now. Just listen to episode 3. It's going to be an 8-parter, so it's still going. But season 3 already has got me pissed off at him. And then another one, these are both on Spotify, by the way. It's called Backstage to the Devil and Metal. And it's just hosted by this guy that's been a metal writer for probably 40 years, since the early 80s. So he's got all the connections. He's got all these old interviews with people that he can drum up. He's got current interviews, past interviews, and it's just kind of the history of metal. So it starts off with the origins and how there was the big satanic panic, and then there was one about one of the episodes was just solely about Black Sabbath. Another one was about the girls and the groupie scene, and then the latest one was called Heroin: Absolute Evil Volume 1, because heroin just ravaged, starting with 70s rockers, 80s and 90s, and even into the 2000s, just ruined people's careers and obviously cost people their lives. So he just talks about how guys like Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue, how they lived through it and tell these stories, and they act like it's all cool, but they're that's the least cool thing to do, is be strung out like that. So it's just really interesting because, like I said, it's really fucking great. It's you're reading or listening to an audiobook with the way he's has interviews and describes everything. So it's really cool.
Sounds gnarly.
Yep.
On me? You not watching anything?
What am I watching? Me and Claire have been addicted to Court Cam. It's it's on A&E, so it's the same guy that hosted Live PD, but now it's old footage. Not old, really. It's in the last year or two, but some of them go back to 15 years ago. But it's just the wildest moments captured on those closed circuit court cams.
Yeah,
it's just fucking crazy, dude. And we always sit up when he's in this next case takes us to Dade County, Florida, or wherever. Anytime you hear Florida,
you
we
just
just
sit
sit
up.
up. Yeah, it's oh, shit's about to get crazy, and it is, man. People will go in for the most minor thing, and then they'll like pull a shank out and start like trying to stab an attorney. It's like he went in for a traffic violation, and now he has attempted murder charges.
You had to pay $200, dude, and you were out of here.
Fine, but since you're in Florida, you tried to kill him. So we've been watching that. Like we've probably watched 20 episodes this past week. Yeah, and then I watched Saving Private Ryan for Memorial Day. I put on here. It's probably my favorite war movie and my favorite Spielberg movie, and I think that was Spielberg's Apex Mountain. That was like from the beginning, from D-Day, like that opening scene. I remember watching as a
brutal,
kid,
dude.
just being like, "Yeah, it's fucking crazy." And then it's like, then they're in the ruins of France, and it really feels like you're in like war-torn France. So it's just like the set design, the acting, and the cinema. It's just probably like I said, probably my favorite war movie and my favorite Spielberg movie. So I watched it on Saturday night and just thoroughly enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite movies.
Sweet, sounds good. So I finally finished House of Cards. Never finished it. Finally finished it. It really, huh?
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
I'll get to it eventually.
Let me try to do this.
Oh, you're gonna spoil it?
I was. It really sucks that Kevin Spacey was touching boys because I feel like.
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
I feel like they rushed through that. Well, it was a bombshell. Nobody expected it to happen. And I think the series would have went on past 6 seasons, but with him out,
they had to pivot.
They pivoted, and the last season was a bummer. Still very good. Probably, it was probably a top 10 series, and we may have to do a Mount Rushmore in our favorite TV series of all time.
Yeah, we talked about that. That'd be a good one.
But yeah, it's still very good. I love like the political stuff like that.
That's really how I think it is, though, man.
No,
literally a house of cards, like built on lies and
deception. That's why when people. I don't support a party. I don't support politics. I don't support politicians
they're both
because
fucking evil. And
it doesn't matter what side you're on. It doesn't fucking matter.
They have the same end game goal.
Yes, it's all. Watch. If y'all think politics matter, if you think you matter in politics, please watch House of Cards because you don't. None of us matter.
Just numbers.
It doesn't fucking matter. And it is just as seedy and backstabby and fucking disgusting as you think it is. And I think this show does a great job at depicting that.
I agree.
That's why
I haven't seen it, but I've heard that, so I agree.
That's why I don't wrap myself up in politics. Restarted Peaky Blinders, another show where I kind of got 2 or 3 seasons in and got busy or watched something else, but restarted it. It's got Cillian Murphy in it. It's got Sam O'Neill in it. In later seasons, it's got Tom Hardy.
Fashion icon, Ed Hardy.
Sorry, I was thinking about what shirt I was going to wear tomorrow. No, it's got Tom Hardy in it, and it's set in 1930s Birmingham, and it's got everything you would want. It's a gangster movie. It's got, if you love British accents, it's got those aplenty. There's sex, there's drugs, there's all. It's a really great show. So I restarted on season 1. I'm probably halfway through. And then I listened to a show you turned me on, Imposters.
Yeah, that was a good fucking season. Or it was like one season, but I burned through all 6 episodes in one day.
And he really did a good job of taking you on that ride of like the ride he went on. It was like, okay, I think I believe this guy, and then just showing his total fall. And I really enjoyed it. And then the next one I started today, I sent it to you. It's called Exit Scam.
Yeah, I'm going to start that soon.
It's about this Canadian dude who had the largest Bitcoin depository or Bitcoin exchange in Canada, and he died holding like $250 million of customers' money, and he didn't leave a password to unlock the wallets. And so
it's just sitting there.
It's just sitting there.
Has anybody tried password?
I don't know.
I should try it.
But it's not just about that, but it's about how people don't think he's really dead, and they're going to dig into his past, and I think they're going to kind of try to frame this guy as like a con artist, and he's always kind of been this way. But yeah, it's really good because he died in India. And they have an expert on, like right where I left off before I started watching Cool Runnings today. They were saying, there's 2 or 3, 4 countries that you could fake your death.
Yeah,
India is one of them.
To fake your
and
death,
so it was like
sure.
right there. They're trying to set a big hook, and I'm about to get to it. So but yeah, Exit Scam, it's really good. And yeah, like I said, finished House of Cards, restarted Peaky Blinders. I've got Euro 2020 coming up next week. If you've got days off, they're going to play Saturdays and Sundays, or if you want to set your DVR, you're going to see some really high level soccer being played. So it's like a mini World Cup. So if you enjoy the World Cup, if you enjoy that competition, jump on that.
I'll watch some.
You got anything else?
Yeah, wish my daughter a happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Ellie.
And it's Eric's daughter's birthday, too.
It is, yeah.
Harper, happy birthday, Harper.
Bunch of birthdays. But yeah, guys, we appreciate all the support we get. If anybody's interested, we're in the works of some T-shirts.
Oh,
so if you want to pick up a T-shirt, let me or Andrew know, and we can work on getting you a T-shirt. But we appreciate each and every one of you guys that listen. We couldn't do it without you. And
well, we could. It would just suck to see no listeners. It'd be like tears at the end of every episode.
I think we just eclipsed 700 total downloads, so not bad.
We need a chart to show our growth
I've got one. I can print out for you.
Print it out for me.
All right, but that's going to do it for us for this week. Thanks for listening. For Matt
and Andrew,
we're out.